did it. He was right, he knew. He looked me in the face and told me I would do it. I said I would die first before I did that. I did it. He knew. Now they've taken him away. If he knew so much, why did he pick me? I warned him. First time we met, I said, get away from me, for I'm a useless sinner. I warned him. He knew. He knew. He knew. Down your nets for a catch. Andrew, my brother, it was his fault. He was a dreamer in the family. I had us a good thing going. Little fishing business on the Sea of Galilee. Me and Drew and the Zebedee brothers starting out with our father's boats and so close to making a name for ourselves. But Drew is always looking off to the mountains. I says, Drew, there's no fish on them hills. Fish are down here in the water. And he says, do you think he'll come in our lifetime? And I says, who? He says, Messiah. Do you think we'll live to see him come? See him set up his kingdom and drive out the Romans? I says, don't you let the Romans hear you talk like that. I says, hey, I believe the Messiah is coming, but until then, there's work to do. There's nothing better for a man to do than to find joy in his labor, for that is his lot, as Solomon says. I says, be like me. Get yourself a wife. Let the Romans worry about the Romans. The Messiah will come without you having to look for him. But no. First he goes off following that baptizer, John, and I lets him go. I keep his place on the boat. I do his work. I slip him money when he's running low. And then one day he shows up and he says, he's found the Messiah. And I'm thinking, great! You found him. Can you come back and help me on the boat? And then he introduces me to him. And now I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding me. Him? Some kid from Nazareth? The son of Joseph, the carpenter? Or maybe not the son? We'd all heard the rumors. This is the Messiah? Well, how do you do? He says he wants to use my boat. He says he wants to go out on the water a bit and teach people. He says he likes the way the sea carries and amplifies his voice. And I'm thinking, sure, fine, this will be good. We'll go out, you'll talk, and then I can prove to Andrew what an idiot he's being and get him to come back and help me. So out we go. And he talks. And it's not bad. He says some good stuff. Tells some good stories. And then he finishes, so I'm about to row back in. And he says, let down your nets for a catch. Now let me tell you, me and James and John, we just been up all night working and we ain't caught nothing. I was born and raised on a boat. My daddy taught me everything there is to know about fishing. So you know that if I don't catch any fish, there ain't no fish. And now old Joe, the carpenter's boy, is going to tell me how to fish? Do I go to his shop and tell him how to make a table? But I just smiled. I says, Master, we've worked all night long and haven't caught anything, but if you say so, We'll try again. And I'm thinking, this will prove to Andrew once and for all what a fake you are. I ain't never seen so many fish. Our net hit the water and they just started jumping into it. I thought the weight of it was going to pull me into the water. I'm yelling for help. I'm calling for James and John. Get over here with your boat! There's so many fish. I thought the boat was going to sink. We finally got into shore. I just sat there thinking, how did he know? How did this carpenter's kid know? He knew. I looked at him and I said, get away from me, Lord, for I'm a sinful man. He said, your name is Simon, but from now on it's going to be Peter. He called me Peter. That means rock. He said, follow me and I will make you a fisher of men. And we followed him. Me, Drew, James, and John. We left everything to follow him. We watched him. He could heal the sick. He gave sight to the blind. The deaf could hear. The dumb could speak. He taught us. He told us the kingdom of heaven was coming. People came to him from all over. He sent us out, and we baptized people. We healed the sick. We cast out demons. But it wasn't us. It was him. It was the power of God. One time he asked us who we thought he was, and was there any doubt? You're the Messiah, the Son of the living God, I says. And he starts acting strange. He didn't want us to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. He said that he had to suffer. That he was going to be handed over to the elders and the chief priests, and that he was going to be killed and then rise again 3 days later. I took him aside and said, no way, Lord. You're not going to die. We won't let that happen. He turned on me. He said, get behind me, Satan. I just let him alone. I mean, everybody loved him. Who could imagine anyone wanting to kill him? I figured it was just one of his parables that I didn't get. I mean, just last week, we walked into Jerusalem and everyone was shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna! Everyone wanted to make him king. Last night we were all together to celebrate the Passover. He washed our feet. I was shocked. That's servant's work. He came to me and I said, no, Lord, you can't wash my feet. He said, if I don't wash your feet, you're not one of mine. Well, I said, well, then not just my feet, but my hands and my head. Wash all of me. Always saying stupid things like that. He said, those who are clean only need to wash their feet. He also said that we weren't all clean. He said that one of us was going to betray him. He said we would all be offended because of him. I said, no, I will never be offended. Even if everyone else is offended, I will never be offended because of you. He looked at me and he said, before the rooster crows, you will deny that you know me 3 times. I said, no, I will never deny you. I'll go to prison. I'll die first before I do that. After we finished eating, we went out to a garden. He took me and James and John off a ways. asked that we watch while he prayed. But we all fell asleep. Next thing I know, he's waking us up and he's saying, "Here comes my betrayer." Judas? There he was, leading a mob with swords and staves. Judas! How much did they pay you? How much did you sell your master for? Get my hands on your scrawny little neck. I thought this was my chance to prove that I'm true to my word. Maybe he was testing me, all that talk about denying. Maybe it was a test. I grabbed a sword and I took a swing at someone. Cut off his ear. Wasn't what I was aiming for. I'm just a stupid fisherman. I don't know how to hold a sword. And then they took him and we all fled. When I realized that they weren't coming after us, I followed. So did John. They took him to the high priest. I stood outside by the fire, trying to keep warm. I was thinking, I gotta come up with a plan, try to help him escape. I just need to lie low, wait for the right moment. Someone says, "You were with him, weren't you?" I didn't even blink. I says, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then someone else says, yeah, you were. Again, I said, "No." And then they said, "We can tell by your accent you're from Galilee. You're one of his disciples." And I swore by the temple and all heaven that I wasn't. And then I heard it. Rooster. I'd done it, just like he said. There he goes. He's carrying a cross. They're going to crucify him. "Take up your cross and follow me." He said that. This is my chance. I'll prove myself. I'll follow you to death. Why can't I follow you now? You said that whoever was ashamed of you, you would be ashamed of them when you came back with your holy angels. It's all happening like you said. I denied you. They're going to kill you. Is this what you meant? Are you coming back to set up your kingdom now? Because if you do, what should you be now? How should you feel about me but ashamed? I'm sorry. I can't follow you now. Forgive me, Jesus. 70 times 7, you said. 70 times 7 is not enough for what I've done. I'm over the limit. You called me Peter, but I'm no rock. I'm just a useless sinner. I warned you. Why couldn't you just left me on the boat?